Hello, my sisters over 50. Is it time for you to surrender your crown? And let me make the case for you as to why it just might be. Hello, I'm c.René Washington, and I'm a life coach, midlife maven, and this is the Midlife Remix for Black women over 50 with ish to say and dreams to live. So let's get to it. If you saw my previous show, I talked to you about 4 journeys every midlife woman needs to live in purpose and freedom. The journey to surrender, the journey to trusting yourself, the journey to loving yourself, and the journey to connecting your passion. I wrote a book about it. Take the trip. 4 journeys every midlife woman needs to live in purpose and freedom. And I wanted to dig in a little deeper to the journeys. And so today we're talking about surrender. And I love quotes. If you love quotes, drop that down in the comments and let me know. I love all kinds of great quotes. And I want to share one with you that I included in the book. So I'm going to read it to you. Anything truly surrendered is made sacred. You're open and curious, surrendering to God showing you the way. You're not fixated on past regrets or a fantasy future. You learn to let everything that needs to go, and everything that needs to come. And that's by Tovah Silver. And I love that quote so much because for the past probably over a year, I have really been digging into this surrender. Surrender. My mantra is let that ish go. Let it go. And it's easy to say and so hard to do, right? Anybody got control issues? Drop down in the comments and let me know because I do. I do. And it requires a lot of work to release your ish, to release it. But it is possible. It is absolutely possible. And I am here to say that it's necessary, particularly for us as Black women. You know, we know that, yes, the world is going through all kind of craziness. And the world has always been going through some kind of craziness. And what we also know as Black women is that whatever is going on, when you slap some Black on top of it, that just adds a whole nother level, right? A whole nother level. And particularly as women who we are already in that lane of taking care of others, nurturing others, we are there for other people. And Black women, we carry that burden. We carry that burden. We carry that weight in so many different ways. One of my motivations for doing this show is, as I told you in the previous show, which I will drop the link to that, is that our health status is very concerning. I know I've been concerned about my health. I'm concerned about the health of Black women in general. And so that's why, as a life coach, someone who has coached men, women, as a life coach, I really have focused on coaching women. Now I am really speaking to Black women and Black women over 50 because I'm looking at the stats on how much high blood pressure is in our community, how much diabetes, autoimmune conditions impact us at a higher level. And for those of us who are younger than 50 and who are still in childbearing age, we know that there are so many issues with Black women and having babies. It's just really, pregnancy with Black women is dangerous. So I just am really focused in on what can we do, what is within our control without us being over controlling in a way that negatively impacts us. And control can show up in different ways because I know that connecting to our identity from an internal perspective not from the perspective of, who we think we ought to be, who people have told us we should be, how the world sees us. All of that's ingrained in us. And it takes targeted and intentional focus on releasing ourselves from those narratives that do not serve us. So laying down our burdens, laying down our ish. And the reason that I really love that concept of letting ish go is because even from a physiological standpoint, we know that if we don't release ish, ish backs up. And when ish backs up, it causes us health problems. I actually know of a woman who it did back up and it did cause her health problems, and she ended up dying. So this is not, it can seem a little humorous, but there is a serious side to letting our ish go. And just like we need to do that on a physiological basis, we also need to do it on a mental basis, an emotional basis, spiritual basis, in addition to the physiological letting go. So, how does control show up? It can show up from an ego perspective when, and I've done this. I've seen women do this. We are so tired of being the one, the go-to person. But then when we don't get the call, we're like, what? They don't need me anymore. We're funny like that, right? Or it can show up from a fear basis. If I don't hold on tight to control, everything will go to crap. I lived through that. One of the stories I tell in the book, is in the chapter on surrender and how I ended up in the hospital because I was holding on to so much control, which leads to the third thing, that I wanted to share because, we can, in order to really get on the other side and learn how to surrender, there are three things that we can do. We first have to acknowledge that there's a problem, that we have an issue with surrendering control. We can learn how to, after we acknowledge, then we can learn how to let it go. And then we can share. I surrender to God. That's my faith practice, is to stay focused on and acknowledge what's my business, what's somebody else's business, and what's God's business. And God's business for me is the stuff that I really can't control, no matter how much I might want to. And so I release it up to God. And I too know that, because I've been here, we release to God. Those of us who have a faith practice, we may release to God, and then what do? We take it right on back, right? Because we get impatient. It's not happening on our timeline. So that also is part of the surrender, is to detach from outcome, to learn how to detach from outcome and to trust that whatever needs to go, let it go. Whatever is supposed to come will come. This is the work. This is the crown that we want to surrender so that we can wear the crown that serves us. The crown that we can wear that's light, that's spacious, opens up space in our lives, that we can flow in, and that we can wear without us wearing us out. So the other quote that I that I share in this chapter is, you want to fly, you got to give up the shit that's wearing you down. That's from the late great Toni Morrison. This is the work. Let's fly, because I do believe, as I have said, that Black women need to be running the world, but not running it so that it's running us in the ground, which is what a lot of us do now. We can run it by first learning who we truly are, loving who we truly are, and loving each other, supporting each other, encouraging each other in ways that, again, do not take us out. So we may show up for our friends, we may show up for our family, but we have learned to put ourselves at the top of our priority list and to only take on what's truly in our lane and sphere of influence and to release the rest. Let grown folks be grown. But that requires us being honest with ourselves, with our truly seeing ourselves, so that we can be who we were put here to be, living in purpose and passion through the lens of personal freedom, whatever that personalized brand of freedom looks like for you, that you are living life on your terms. And that doesn't mean you're being selfish. That means you're being full of love for yourself so that you are able to show up for others in your best self, your highest and your best. So if this is resonating with you, drop down in the comments and let me know, because I am coming back. This is part of the series. And so we have 3 more journeys to go through. The next journey is trusting yourself. So if that is popping for you, come on back to the Midlife Remix for Black women over 50 with Ish to Say and Dreams to Live. Subscribe, turn on those notifications, and share with your sisters. Because when something's good for you, it may be good for somebody else. And that's what we do. We share the good stuff, right? So I'll look for you to be coming back. Take care.